Back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Wednesday, June the 5th. And in today's weather forecast, we're going to be talking about major heat building across the Western U.S. that will march eastward through the central and eastern U.S. as we go deeper into June, and a quieter weather pattern will turn more active again once we get closer to Father's Day weekend and thereafter. We'll dive into the details in today's weather forecast, but before we do, make sure if you aren't subscribed here to the channel that you hit the subscribe button down below. We do daily weather forecast videos on this channel covering southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Also be sure to press the like button down below, and also if you want to leave a comment, a question, or a concern down below, we'll get to those later on today. So let's look here at the weather alerts across the country, and you can see widespread heat alerts across California, Nevada, over here into Utah, down into Arizona, parts of New Mexico, and into Texas, really South Texas down toward the Rio Grande Valley. In the orange, we have heat advisories, but in these pink shaded colors, that includes the Sacramento Valley, much of the desert Southwest, including the Phoenix area, and even parts of South Texas, we have excessive heat warnings. Those areas could be seeing heat index values climbing over 110, 115, even approaching 120 as we go over the next few days. So let's look at the weather pattern here. We have a trough across portions of southern Canada that extends over here into the western Great Lakes. That will bring more active weather today. There's that ridge out west that's going to bring our major heat wave across the western third of the country. That actually is elongating further east towards South Texas as well. That's why they're getting the heat. That continues as we go largely into the day on Thursday and Friday as well. So a prolonged period of extreme heat out west. So let's look at those temperatures this afternoon. You can see all the triple digits here from the Sacramento Valley back here in California through the Las Vegas area up to 102 this afternoon, 103 in the Phoenix area as we go into the afternoon, and 103 down here in San Antonio, Texas as well. So a very hot day across the south. Make sure to stay hydrated. As we go into Thursday, that trough across the north will bring us a lot of cool weather, abnormally cool for this time of year. So enjoy the cool weather while it lasts, as it is June after all. Here's all the heat back across the south and southwest on Thursday. That'll start to build a little bit more across the plains as we go into the late week here on Friday, June the 7th. So this heat is actually fueling some storms. Let's look at yesterday's storm reports across the country. All these blue dots you see from the Midwest all the way over through the Ohio Valley, the East Coast, all the way back here toward the Gulf Coast. We have 108 wind reports, one tornado reported there in eastern Louisiana, and all the green you see on here is hail reports. We only had 18 of those, 3 of those being of 2-inch diameter or larger. So it was a busy day yesterday, 127 total severe weather reports across the country. And we have a lot of scattered activity here as we go through today. Look at all these dark green areas across the United States. That signifies a low-end threat for severe weather, just scattered severe weather. Mainly your 60-mile-per-hour wind gust producers, your quarter-size hail producers, and maybe an isolated tornado. As we go into Thursday, you can see a marginal risk down here into the east coast of Florida from portions of Daytona Beach down toward Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Then as we go into Friday, the Front Range in eastern Colorado into southwestern New Mexico and western Kansas may have a couple of stronger storms there toward the Dodge City area and those areas out west as we go into Friday. Let's look at that. So we have a low pressure system up into Manitoba. This is a pretty strong low pressure system at a 988 millibars. The lower the pressure, the stronger it is. So you can see the cold front extending down across the eastern United States with that today. That will bring scattered showers and storms. Again, a lot of different areas of severe weather potential, but mainly low end potential for severe weather. So just your 60-mile-per-hour winds, your quarter-size hail, and a very isolated weak tornado possible. As we go into Thursday, the cold front marches east. So the eastern United States will get in on the action as we go into Thursday. Some backwash moisture across the western Great Lakes could make for areas like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan for some precipitation at times on Thursday. Definitely not an all-day washout. Then as we go into Friday, you can see that moves even further east. A lot of southeastern Canada getting very active from Ontario into Quebec, and then over here into the New England region as well. And then a new low pressure system will be forming across the Front Range, bringing some isolated severe weather on Friday for eastern Colorado, southwestern Nebraska, and western Kansas. Overall, going between now through Friday night here on June 7th, the heaviest of rains will actually be up here in southeastern Canada from Ontario into Quebec here in southern Quebec near the Montreal region. We could be seeing a couple inches of rain, and then into interior New England from western Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York, we could see a couple inches of rain as well. Otherwise, areas along and west of the Mississippi River really won't see much rain through the rest of this week. Heading into the weekend, we have a trough across portions of the Northeast. The ridge continues out west, so that means cooler weather across the east, warmer weather out west, and you can see that really well depicted here on the temperature anomaly map. Some areas out west into places like the Cascades, into Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, northern Nevada could actually see temperatures 20, 25 degrees above the norm for this time of year, and then areas in the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and northeastern United States could see temperatures down to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. You can see as we go through the weekend, there will be an active corridor in between where those air masses are battling each other between the warm air out west, the cool air out east, and that could bring maybe some showers and storms across the central plains into the Missouri Ozarks region as we go into Saturday night, and then as we go into Sunday and Sunday night with those mesoscale convective systems like we've been seeing as we go deeper into the weekend. And here's the precipitation for the weekend as well. For Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th, the corridor is going to be the same as what we've been seeing the last few days. Kansas, Oklahoma, North Texas, and then east toward the Mississippi River, and perhaps as further east from there into Tennessee. We'll have to wait and see for that. But a couple inches of rain on the way for those areas as we go into the weekend. The pattern remains intact largely even as we go into next week. So what you see is what you get type of thing. So from Monday, June 10th through Friday, June 14th, getting up toward that Father's Day weekend, we have the trough remaining out east with those cooler than normal temperatures. And then out west, the ridge really firm and strong across the west, across places like California and Wyoming and Utah and Idaho and Montana. A lot of these areas will be really warm as we go into next week, and it'll also be dry for the Pacific Northwest here. And then some drier weather across the upper and middle Mississippi Valley, stretching into the Ohio-Tennessee River Valley. A lot of the active weather on the northwest flow here will really be from the Front Range and into the Colorado Rockies, down south and east toward the Red River Valley here between Oklahoma and Texas, and then into Florida and up the East Coast, some active weather as well as we go into next week. Let's take a peek at those temperatures. So as we start the week next week on Monday, June the 10th, you can see pretty nice temperatures for most of the country except for out west. You know, we're seeing a lot of heat out there, and then down there into Florida as well, a lot of 90s as we go into Monday. As we go into Wednesday, the middle of next week, we start to heat up across the middle of the country, just back into the 70s and 80s, and then really starting to get hot across the middle of the country by next Friday, on Friday, June 14th. And you can see triple digit heat not out of the realm of possibility for places like the Western Dakotas, into the panhandle of Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, maybe even as far north as Montana, in the eastern Montana region as we go into next Friday. Let's look at the jet stream because this is important and showing you where the highway is for more of the storms as we go into next week. Monday, jet stream all the way up there into southern Canada or across the eastern U.S. That's where the active weather will be. Wednesday, same thing. You have an active jet stream way up there almost in central Canada, and then that trough across the east bringing us more active weather in the east. Then as we go into next Friday, we see a little bit of a change with the jet stream starting to move into the west with the trough. That may start our pattern change as we get closer toward Father's Day weekend. But leading up till then, next week, Monday, June 10th through Friday, June 14th, you can see few and far between with the rainfall totals, more organized precipitation, perhaps for Florida and the southeast over here into the coastal Virginia areas, into the Carolinas, south central Georgia, and southeastern Alabama. Some of those areas more organized, meaningful rains over 1 and maybe even 2 inches through the work week. Beyond that, I know we're getting to the long range here, but there's been a consistent signal. So let's share that with you From Monday, June 17th, after Father's Day, through the following Sunday, June 23rd, there's going to be that ridge that's going to still be out west, but it's going to march a little further to the east here, with it centered across southern New Mexico, West Texas, and northwestern Mexico itself. And again, underneath that, we're going to have a lot of heat. So look at the temperature anomalies on the ensemble guidance, already averaging 13 degrees above average Fahrenheit. So pretty hot out here, and that will spread east toward the Mississippi River as well. On the northeastern quadrant of that, that's where the active belt of the jet stream will be, and that's where the active weather will be. So severe weather likely will be migrating further north into the upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley the deeper we go into June. So like that third week of June, and you can see that on the European guidance. That's the ensemble, the GFS ensemble really showing that as well. And then the Canadian ensemble, the CMC, pretty similar, but maybe just a little further south here and maybe an outlier as well. Here's my thoughts on the severe weather forecast from June 17th, that's Monday after Father's Day, through the following Sunday, June the 23rd. And you can see in the yellow, it's summer, and we're going to see a lot more severe weather, so you can't rule it out. In the orange, a medium threat for severe weather. And then I'm really concerned about areas here in the red. That's where we could see more of those mesoscale convective systems, possibly a series of derechos on the northeast side of that high pressure system as it's anchored down here across the southern four corners region, Mexico and West Texas. We're going to have a lot of strong winds in the jet stream over top of that, so we can't rule out a derecho or two. And a derecho is a fast-moving, intense line of storms that typically brings hurricane-force winds of 75 miles per hour or greater across the United States here. They're pretty rare, but they also, in rare instances, could produce winds over 100 miles per hour, straight-line winds. Also, tornadoes can occur with those as well. We'll keep a very close eye on that as we do get closer to that time frame. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. We'll have another weather forecast video out for you tomorrow. Make sure to give it a like if you like today's weather forecast down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.